At 1 p.m. HST, I know where I will be. Ukulele Underground Podcast for you and me. Aldrine and Aaron and Kahai. And maybe Magic Mike or a guest on the fly. Ukulele Underground Podcast. Now here's the guys.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Ukulele Underground Podcast. My name is Aldrine Guerrero. Joining me are Mr. Aaron, the voice, the recovered voice, Nakamura. Say what's up, Aaron.
What's up?
And Kahai, the recovering legend. Friggin, say what's up, Kahai.
What's up?
And I am your host, Mr. Aldrine Guerrero. Gentlemen, it is the Ukulele Underground Podcast. It is 1 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time on a Monday. Let's talk ukulele. What we do here on this show, we answer any and all of your ukulele questions. If there's a question, I try to answer it with I try to put in my own 2 cents. Is that how it goes? I try to put in my own 2 cents. These two guys will put in their own 2 cents. Will come up with the best 6-cent answer just for you, right? So without further ado, let's just kind of talk about why we're still out. So Aaron, we missed you last week, man. How's it going?
Doing okay. Yeah, better.
You good? You
Better
you
now.
recovered? You recovered from your bouts with sickness?
Yeah.
Good. And
It was a wild ride.
and the rest of us also rode that wave, apparently, of that Aaron Nakamura wave of sickness, and that's why we are still out. But just to be on the safe side, you know, I mean, we don't want anybody getting sick, but I don't know, something was brought up that, like, I guess if we're in the same room, we can't really get each other any more sick, you know?
The immune systems are high.
Yeah. So it should be all good.
Should be fine.
I apologize if if I clear my throat or if I cough or whatever, I have a little mini fit and stuff, or if the 8-month-old that I infected right outside this door is crying. So, but everything's all good. Let's how about you, Kai? How you holding up, buddy?
I'm okay. Yeah. I feel like there's a Japanese word called bachi, and I feel like the last podcast we're like, we don't have what Aaron has and we're all good, and then like after that is like, oh no, yeah, I have this too. Yeah.
Oh no, it is confirmed. Remember, we were not confirmed last week. We're like, we're unconfirmed yet. Aaron is definitely confirmed that he has something. But me and Kahai not confirmed, and bam, like the next day, I think, right? We were basically confirmed to have the same thing that Aaron has.
Yeah. I didn't know the next day, but then right after the podcast, I was like, oh my gosh, I am so tired. I was like, when we started the podcast, I was like, yeah, we'll do the podcast. It'll be fine. And then right after, I'm like, oh my gosh, that took it out of me. So, yeah.
All good. I mean, for myself, like, it only really lasted like a day and a half. But the only thing that lasted, like, I couldn't smell or taste anything for a few days. And I was looking it up, and everything I read said like it'll be months before I get it back. But then I think what was that? Like Saturday night is when I started kind of like, hey, that's. I was like, I smell this baby's dirty diaper. Like, how am I able to smell that? And then it started kind of coming back. So Sunday came back, and then today it's even more so. So I'm on the up and up, Kai.
That's like the smelling salt that you needed, the dirty diaper.
The dirty diaper. Yo, like it was super sad. Like I didn't think I was gonna get as sad as I got. Like I got pretty depressed, like not being, able to smell or taste anything. I'm Filipino, and we Filipinos like don't really necessarily just kiss our children. Like we sniff them. Like all you other Filipinos out there will know. You know that we sniff them, and it's just like it hit me that I'm just like, oh my god, like I can't sniff my child. You know what I mean? Like how do I show affection if I can't sniff my child? So I got super depressed, and then like. Whenever I'm depressed, I go into like an eating spree, and I couldn't even do that. I couldn't even stuff my face with food. Exactly. Yeah. It was so sad for like a few days that I'm like, oh my god. I'm just telling my wife, and just like, I don't know what to do. There's nothing you can do. Really, just gotta wait it out. But you know. And eventually it kind of like started to wane away because I was ready to like to accept the fact that it's gonna be months until it came back. I'm like, oh no, I can't smell my child. That was like the most bumming part. But then I can't even do what I normally do to destroy myself during depression, which is eat. I could even enjoy that. I got depressed. I could even enjoy being depressed. But so our bouts with the sickness is coming to an end, so it's all good, and hopefully everyone's on the up and up. So without further ado, now let's get started. Kahai, what are we talking about today? What do you guys want to talk about?
Yeah, Aaron had a question kind of related to what we just went through, and so
Oh, nice.
We'll let Aaron take it away.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh yeah, so the question is, what is your go-to throat remedy for being on the road?
Oh, nice. I think I mentioned this before, but it's really, really, really like important and very, very, very special to me because this remedy isn't passed down since I was like a little kid, but it's really just taking ginger. And if ginger's the only thing that you have, that's it. Really, it's just ginger. So what I would do is I would take just like a nice big, chunk of ginger, smash it so that it's open, basically. Just smash it open like you would like a garlic or something, like you smash it, put it in with some hot water, and let the hot water boil for like a good 10 minutes so it extracts everything from the ginger, and then strain it into a cup. And then just drink that straight. You know what I mean? Like that's the best thing. So on tour, I have lost my voice on tour, or it has been kind of like kind of down and raspy for some of the tours that we went on, and I would just beg people like, hey, can somebody just like boil up some ginger and give it to me. And I remember being in the Philippines and getting like everyone that I ran into was like, oh, I heard you were asking for some ginger. So like I had like bottles and bottles and bottles of like just this ginger tea like at my hotel room, and I would drink that, and it would work, it was when I was a kid. I had to give this kind of like Boy Scout or Cub Scout presentation when I was in the first grade over in the Philippines, and it was like in front of the whole school, so I had to make this speech thing, and I lost my voice. I don't know if it was because like anxiety or whatever. Like as a kid, I lost my voice, and my mom was like, "Oh, I'm gonna make you some," and in Filipino it's called salabat. So salabat is basically ginger tea. It is just ginger, like no fancy whatever, no sugar, no honey, no lemon, no none of that stuff. It's just straight ginger that you boil for like 10 minutes. So I drank it, and I remember the next day I could do that speech, and I always thought of it as kind of this like miracle drug, and it always has been. If it doesn't give me my voice back within the next day, it at least helps like a lot. It'll make a big difference, So that's my go-to. But for those of you folks who can't handle just straight boiled ginger, like you can put some honey. That's also good for your throat and stuff. And lemon and sugar if you want to add some sugar in there. But for me, it says just straight up ginger. Either that, if I don't have, say, if I was on tour and I didn't have the luxury of a stove and boiling stuff, I would just have somebody just slice up the ginger and eat that straight. Like just eat straight ginger is the is my is my second advice. The third place advice would be to get those ginger candies and eat that. I know and ginger tea also. Like I know Prince of Peace and I think Chimes has like all those like ginger candies and ginger tea and whatever, but just ginger in general is like just the best thing for your throat. And for those of you singers, if you really, here's a bonus, if you really want your throat to open up before a show, and you're on tour, if there's those honey that comes in the small little bottles that like in hotel rooms and stuff, just take that, just put it in your pocket. There are amenities, you're not really stealing technically, just take it. And so you order like, I don't know, toast or whatever, just say like, oh, I want room service, and I just want some toast, keep it nice and cheap, you know what I mean? I'm a cheap dude. So take that, open it, and right before you go up on stage, just tank that honey, and and you can feel your throat opening up. It's kind of amazing. So like it's so honey and ginger, but ginger, primarily ginger. But if you want a little bit of sweetness in there, honey. That is my, not secret, because it's a pretty common Filipino practice to just tank ginger, and going more into it, like for religious purposes as well. Like we have what's called passion in the Roman Catholic or Filipino Roman Catholic traditions, which would be like this 24-hour like pray-a-thon basically. Like we would have this book, which is basically the Bible, but in verses, like kind of like how what is the I don't know if I terrible with Bible stuff right now, but you know, like there's ones that like that are they're in verses, but the whole book is that way. So you would just like sing like this, you know, this thing, you take shifts and it takes 24 hours to do, and at those passion meetings or get-togethers, they would always have like a bowl of sliced ginger, just so that like people don't lose their voice, because it's like hours that they're just singing constantly. And there's like these, you know, from people like me who are maybe like 5-6 years old when I first started doing it, to like people as, you know, as old as like 90, 100. Like they it's like a practice us like Roman Catholics in the Philippines do. It's called passion. And yeah, and that's kind of like where my parents got it from. So like just boil the ginger, drink it, and it's fine. Imagine like a six, yeah, I must have been 6 or 7, because I was in the first grade in the Philippines. So and you know, like it's ginger's not the tastiest thing, but I think from then I like got kind of like a I got a liking to the taste of ginger. So now I drink it like it's, you know, like it's like a Sprite. it's super easy, and I like it. Actually, I like the taste of ginger tea. My kid hates it, but I like it. But yeah, that's my remedy for losing your voice, sore throat, being sick, and you need to use your voice and stuff. And really, ginger salabat, if you want to look it up. There you go, Aaron. Salabat. Yeah. Do you remember how I lost my voice, Aaron? That Philippine tour?
Yeah. That was the whole snake, right?
Yeah. I'm scared of snakes. I'm like deathly afraid of snakes. And there was like a guy with like, I don't know, one of those like Britney Spears snakes, like in Thailand.
Yeah, giant.
Yeah, like gigantic,
boa.
like I think it's like white, yellow kind of like boa constrictor. And they're like, oh, Dream, you should pet the snake. I'm like, no, I'm like deathly afraid of snakes, which is not something I should have disclosed to my friends who, you know, like who play tricks and prank on tour and stuff. So, you know, I told that to Rio and Calais and everybody, and they're like, oh, really? Are you now? Are you scared of snakes? So yeah, and then they're like, I don't know, I'm like, I'm not doing that. And as I walked away, the guy like brushed the snake on me, and I'm like, I, you know, not proud to say, but I screamed like when that snake because I don't know, it's just it's like the weirdest scaly feeling. I'm not into it. I'm not into snakes, right? Where are their arms and legs?
Yeah. No, I'm the toughest, and snakes definitely do not scare me. So, you know, it would be useless if you brought a snake anywhere near me. I'd be super tough.
I don't trust it. Where's their arms and legs? If I can't give it a high five, I don't trust it.
Yeah.
Tail fives don't count.
I don't know. I'm just glad we
But
were
yeah.
born in the island that doesn't have any snakes. So, yeah.
Yeah, we have no snakes. We have no mongooses. Well, no mongoose. No, we do have scorpions. It's not that bad, and centipedes and stuff. But they're not snakes. They got arms and legs and stuff. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. Yeah. I don't know what else other kind. That's why I think when like staying at Jim's house when we were in Australia, it was kind of like, Jim, I hate snakes, man. You have snakes in your house, because I heard Australia was like Disneyland for snakes and things that can kill you, really, right? Like it's like Disneyland for things that are very, very, very poisonous. So he's like, oh, don't worry about it, mate, or whatever, however Jim said. He's like, no, there's no like snakes in my house or whatever, you know, like that's exactly what he sounded like. That's exactly what Jim Bills sound like.
I think we were talking to Jim, and he was like, "You
Yeah.
guys don't have to worry. It's only been like, oh no, it was quite recently that there was like a snake bite or something like that." He's like,
I know,
he was
yeah,
trying
you
to
know
say
what I
like,
mean?
no, it's been a while, but then he's like, oh no, actually there was something that happened recently, and we're like, what are you talking? That's like never here, Jim. So that's way longer than any time we've had it.
No, I remember that. Like, I was telling him, and see, that's like I just shouldn't tell people. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like, because it never gets brought up if you don't tell anybody. You know, like that you're afraid of like deathly afraid of snakes. And so I was like, oh, Jim, kind of like scared of snakes. And it's like, oh, really? There was I guess one of the people were like working on his wires or something in his backyard, and there was like just a snake coiled in like in the power stuff in his yard, right, or something. And he showed me a picture. Like he took a picture of the snake that was coiled up in his like power box thing in his backyard, and he's like, oh, let's go have some breakfast, and let me show you like how to let me introduce you to some Vegemite. And I was like, oh yeah, where are we eating? In the backyard. Yeah, where you found that snake? Yeah, no thanks. Oh, thank you. He's like, hey, it's okay, mate. You know, and I'm just like, oh, it's not okay, man. Mate. It's not okay, mate. So not okay, mate.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's yeah. So, any other questions? Any questions from the audience? Or do you have a follow-up question to that, Aaron?
No, that was basically it. I was thinking about it because actually, conveniently, a couple of weeks ago, my parents gave me some like pickled ginger.
Oh, wow.
And my dad was like, oh, it's a little bit hot. I guess the ginger that he got was extra
nice.
hot.
That's the good stuff.
And so, yeah. So while I was cooped up in my house for the past week, like I had that conveniently on hand.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, ginger, like it's definitely an acquired taste, but it's almost like when you're drinking it, you can feel it working. You know what I mean? Like I've never had something that immediate where like you drink it and it's almost like you can feel it killing whatever bacteria or whatever like viral thing that you have in your throat. I'm not sure if it is doing much, but it definitely feels like it. You know what I mean? It's doing something in your throat, and it feels really good afterwards. So I don't know, like. I feel like if I drink it, even when I'm not sick, it would make me sing better. Because,
Yeah.
You know, it's definitely a wonder drug for anybody who likes to sing or use their voices and stuff. Yeah. Okay, questions from the audience, Kahai.
Kevin said, "Does Koa sound good,
Yeah.
or is it more for visual appeal?"
Well, just like with any kind of tone woods out there, they do have their own characteristics, like general characteristics. But of course, each cut is gonna have its own characteristic as well. It just varies, even from like the same, I don't know, like even from the same quarter sawn log, like you could have differences in tone from set to set. But the general characteristics of Koa really is a nice like middle of the road for me, middle of the road kind of tone wood with more emphasis on the brighter side, because ukulele, it tends to be on like a brighter instrument. It's kind of perfect for that, but it's not too bright. It wouldn't be as bright as say like a spruce or or cedar and things like that, but it's got a nice balanced brightness, and it's a really good tone for the ukulele because it matches what ukulele should kind of sound like. Either that, or like we've just been conditioned to like to hear Koa sounding ukuleles. But I think it's a really good pair with the ukulele. But as far as like as far as visuals, definitely it's a visual thing. Like Koa can have colors that range from like white to like deep orange and reds and and browns and stuff. It's really it's a really beautiful piece of wood. So you can even get like nice straight grain kind of Koa, and you'll see the burst of colors within just like a an ukulele set. But if you go for like higher grade koas with like with curls and stuff, like I have there's an ukulele that I have here that I was about to change strings on. Here's one in an example. Here's a straight grain koa. So this has got no curls, no none of that fanciness and stuff. But you can kind of see that the colors go from like that light to brown to orange. It's got a nice kind of array of colors as far as this is straight grain koa. This is a kanile special edition ukulele, tenor ukulele. Now, I have this one that I was about to change strings on. So change strings because I want to go with a low G on this one. So let's just kind of show you the back, and this is what's what a curly koa is. So the other one is straight grain. This is curls. So like the higher grade koas are gonna have this this curl on it. Beautiful, but it still has those those whites or light colors to the dark browns and the oranges and the reds. It's just a really beautiful ukulele visual wise, so it's yeah, look at that, gorgeous.
Can you play those ukuleles so people can get a taste of what the, or at least the straight grain?
The straight grain kind of sounds like, sound wise, if I'm gonna have to be honest with some people, straight grain actually for me sounds better. Yeah. So here's a straight grain ukulele. I'm gonna try to mute the G so that you can kind of hear. So I'll try to compare with the other one, so so that low G string is not gonna be a factor in this. Really nice. Love the sound of that one. So here's one. So here, let's hope it's in two. That's not in two. Okay, yeah, I had a high G. Wanted to take it off. To put a low G in there. And once again, straight grain. So it depends on what you like. I mean, like I said, it's gonna make a difference, like from set to set, even if it's like straight grain or curls and stuff. So there's gonna be some curls that sound brighter than the one that I just showed you. There's going to be straight grain ones that are gonna sound darker than the one that I showed you. So it really just depends on each cut, but. Koa is really versatile in that sense because it's got those nice mids and highs to it. Really good tone wood for the ukulele. Yeah.
And a traditional tone wood.
Yeah, traditional, and because it's a Hawaiian wood, and it's just got a nice kind of like I don't want to say vibe, but it feels right. It feels right to to have this Hawaiian instrument be made from like a Hawaiian tone wood kind of thing. I don't know. It's poetic.
Yep. So with those two ukuleles you played,
Yeah.
Rick said, do you prefer gloss or satin finishes on your uke? And then Scooter also asked, how much does the finish matter?
Oh, okay. So if I'm being asked gloss or satin finishes, it depends on the grain of the wood. Honestly, like for something like a straight grain, if you put gloss in it, like it doesn't really make too much of a difference. Like I mean, other than it being shiny, but it's not gonna bring out like what you would bring out, say, if you did it with curls. Because if you did it with one that's curled, so I'm showing you folks the back because it's a nice the high gloss if I do it from like a certain angle, like you can see more of that, more of that curl rather than like, you know. So the gloss really makes a difference when you put it when you add it on a curly koa ukulele rather than a straight grain koa ukulele. So if I have a straight grain koa ukulele, I would go more of a silk finish rather than satin. This one here is natural finish they call it. So I think that's basically satin, right? That kind of natural finish. But I would have loved it if it was silk, but natural is really nice for this kind of grain, or this silk or natural will be good for that kind of grain. But for the curly koa ukulele, that is done with Kanile'a's UV finish, and the UV finish I feel like really brings out, like, makes the colors pop, and I think that like it's a nice way to highlight those curls, because if you're gonna get a curly ukulele, if you're gonna go down that route, you're gonna want to show off all like the really cool colors that your ukulele has, or that specific tone wood that you got has. Yeah. Does it make a difference? I think it does. Like the less coats and the less finish that you have on the on the ukulele, the more it can vibrate, the more it can breathe, the more it can and the more it vibrates, the more sound it makes. So it just makes sense that way. Thankfully, the UV finish that they put that Kanilea puts on their ukuleles is I think is minimal coating. Like if at all, I think maybe just one coat. I'm not sure. Like I have the foggy brain, but it's not a lot, because if you were to use like regular nitrocellulose like on those, it goes up to like 10-15 coats of paint. So the more coats on there, the less vibration that the wood is allowed to have. So like the less coats, meaning say something like like a natural finish, or a silk or satin finish, of course is gonna have a bigger or better sound, because it's less things that's dampening that wood from vibrating. But yeah, I mean, but it's kind of tough to tell, because it all goes back to each cut of wood is gonna be different. You know what I mean? You just never know if it's supposed to be that loud, or if it's if the finish is making it that loud, or that piece of wood is just that naturally loud. You know what I mean? Like, you can't really tell the difference unless you go both ways, where you put the coat on and you take the coat off. But by taking the coat off, you're like stripping more than just the coat. Sometimes it's really impossible to tell if an ukulele is going to benefit more from having a silk or natural satin finish, or or gloss. It's tough, but I think just go with whatever looks good with your ukulele. But for my opinion, because we do give O's and not A's in this show, straight grain, satin, silk, natural finishes, curly ukuleles, definitely UV cured gloss finish. That's the short answer.
I think
Yeah, and also like the build quality, like
Yeah.
how the builder builds the ukulele, how
Yeah.
they brace it, that's all
Yeah.
gonna affect
Make a
sound
difference.
way more than finish is gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would just want a glossy finish on like curly koa or any woods like that, just because I would want something to protect it more, right? Like and you want to protect your straight finish too, or your straight grain ukuleles too, but it's just like with ukulele that is gonna look that nice, it's like, yeah, I don't want it to be where it's like, well, you can kind of see where my arm has been laying on the same spot over 20 years, because it's like leaving a grease mark, or like a it's actually digging into the ukulele. Whereas like instruments that I have that have a lighter finish, that is something that you experience, is like if you play it for a long time, the oils from your own skin can eventually wear it down too. So
That's what I'm hoping for, guy. I'm trying to land a sponsorship with Jollibee, man. You know, like I'm trying to get all those Jollibee fried chicken grease and sweat into my instruments, and then when I'm like, hey, look at this, you know, like this is from the bucket of chicken that I eat all the time.
This is how good
Sponsor
our
me,
chicken
please.
is. It can degrade ukulele.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
made its mark on my instruments.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Next question.
Groovy Girl said, "What does it mean when an ukulele opens up? I hear people saying this about new ukuleles."
Okay. A new ukulele opens up the more that you play it. And what that means is it has to. I mean, I guess this can kind of this mostly affects solid top ukuleles. And what that means is that the top is made from one or book matched piece of wood. Okay, like this is not like a veneer where like you're putting together a bunch of like wood pieces or wood chips or wood shavings or whatever and coming up with like
Layers.
layers that you're coming up with a veneer kind of a veneer top. Okay, so if the top is solid, then that means the fibers on there when you play it more, the more that you play it, the top will vibrate, and thus the more it vibrates, the more you play it, the more opened up those fibers are gonna get, and when you cut down, and this is what I was told, when you cut down an ukulele, or when you cut down a tree and turn it into an ukulele, that was like a living thing that you're now telling, okay, now your purpose is to make music, and now your purpose is to vibrate and make music. That living thing with the with the fibers and all that stuff doesn't really know how to do that. But the more you play it, the more it the wood will move, the more the fibers will move, the more it's kind of like spiritually going, I know what I'm supposed to be, like I know what I'm supposed to sound like, I know what I'm supposed to do. So the more you play it, the more the ukulele can kind of figure out what its new role is in this new life, because it was a tree, now it's a musical instrument. So the more you play it, the more it will open up, and it'll sound like what it's supposed to. And I say that this really only pertains to solid top ukuleles, because that's kind of harder to do with a veneer ukulele with a non-solid top. But it has happened, not like it hasn't happened before. It can happen. I do have some veneer ukuleles that I feel that like sound better the older that it gets. So the aging, the playing of the instrument is going to have a difference in what your ukulele is going to sound like. And the more open up it sounds, and that goes, I think the characteristics in the words open up is like, maybe the volume might go up just a little bit. The tone might change, because you might have kind of a brighter, like thinner kind of tone at first, but as the fibers open and move up, or open up, that tone can go a little bit more on the darker side, which is great, because you have more volume but like a darker sound, making that sound more vintage. And that's why people go after vintage instruments, because they want that kind of opened up sound, because somebody did all the playing for you. And I mean, there are devices what is that?
Tone right.
Like the tone right that can open up your instrument for you by putting a device that vibrates the strings, that's kind of like reenacting like playing the instruments. I mean, those things exist because of this theory that instruments will open up the more you play it. And I believe in that theory. I've tons of ukulele. Like this is the reason why that other ukulele with the 3 strings that you saw sounds like how it sounds. It didn't originally sound like that. It sounds nice and deep and dark. Actually, it wasn't always that that sound. Like this ukulele sounded really good, in the beginning, but now it sounds like amazing, because this is like the first custom kanilea that I've ever gotten, and this must have been 2010, 2009, something like that. Like this particular ukulele is really, really, really opened up and really, really old. So it has that opened up sound. Like the sustain is really good. It's not too bright sounding. The volume is really good. Yeah, so that's an example of an opened up ukulele, and so is this one, the straight grain, because it says 1998 to 2018, so that means I got this 5 years ago, and it's here within arm's reach because I use this ukulele all the time for teaching. If there's a private lesson sign up for Ukulele Underground that happens, and they have a low G. I usually use this ukulele to teach that student the low G lesson. So it's always here. It's always being played. This ukulele is in a lot of the tracks that we've done for the play along. So in those 5 years that I've had this ukulele, it's really opened up a lot. So it's got this. So straight grain opened up. This is another example. This one is a redwood top ukulele. Yeah, but then curly Koa back and sides. Okay. Excuse me. But this one too has opened up. But you can kind of tell the difference between the one that has the gloss finish and one that doesn't have the gloss finish. But for this one to be a redwood top, it actually sounds nice and whole. I would expect a redwood top to be a lot more brighter, but it's got like a nice darker sound to it. Like when you hear those C string notes. Can really hear the tones from the C string coming out in that one. So yeah, yes, those are my answers to the question. Next, Kai.
So, well, I was gonna say that it kind of goes back to we talked last week about like a bargain ukuleles and how much you want to pay for it. And that's kind of like also a reason why you might want to pay a little bit more for your ukulele, is because it's an investment. And as time goes on, it should just get better and better with, playing or taking care of your ukulele. Your ukulele should just, if you get good quality wood, it should just open up and it should just sound better and better.
Last for a long time. Yeah.
Okay. So Mark said, I want my kids to learn to play uke. What do you think of the Flea and Fluke plastic bodies for something like that?
I think they're okay, like cause they're unbreakable. They're supposed to be unbreakable anyway. Like, so if they throw it around or they like, I don't know, play baseball with it or whatever, like it should be okay. And they're relatively, not pricey. So they're not super cheap, but they're not like super pricey either. I think they're fine. The one thing that I do have, that I do concern myself with, if someone's learning on a Flea or a Fluke, is the form. That when you play the ukulele, the form is going to be different. You have to compensate a lot of things in order to get good form with the Flea and the Fluke, because it is a weirder shape to hold and to try to play. It's not the most ergonomic thing because of the curly back and stuff too. So if you have kids, they're most likely it's gonna look like this on their laps, and that's not necessarily a good thing, because it's gonna be like a challenge to keep this thing up, up like this. And if you have children, it's just gonna do this eventually, So that's something that I would concern myself with if it's gonna be kids that are playing that. If you've already kind of learned how to play the ukulele, and if you know how to hold it, how to strum, how to play the chords, all good. If you're gonna play a Flea or Fluke, it's something that I would say, like, put in my car, take it on a vacation and stuff. It's something that I know is indestructible, so it's not gonna break. But if I wanted to, if I wanted to learn it, if I wanted my kids to be serious with the ukulele, I wouldn't necessarily go towards that route, only because the form is going to be a lot tougher to get used to. And if they get used to the certain form with their flea or fluke, it might be easier to play like a regular ukulele, because like fitting the form in that would be good. But I don't know, that might kind of like mix things up. But I see Aaron is the resident expert with flea, because he has a fluke at home. I've played a bunch of them and I've had a bunch of experience, but for me that's my number one concern is like kind of holding and keeping good form with that particular ukulele. What do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, I mean, I love
There's one right behind you.
Yeah, I got a fluke right here. I haven't really had too much problems with it. Like once you get used to playing it, like you can hold it pretty easily. Like because there's a flat bottom, you can put it down anywhere, it'll just stand up, and that makes it convenient for like playing, because I can leave it anywhere and I can just pick it up. And if I knock it over, it's usually not a problem. They are definitely not indestructible, because I've broken this one. But really, like, yeah, I've had it for, I think I had it over 15 years by the time that I actually broke it. So yeah, so part of the reason why it broke is probably because like the glue that was holding the wood to the plastic was really old at that point too. And so so I had it redone with a solid, I think a different solid top. I think flukes and fleas in general are solid tops, so they're solid wood tops, so they sound fantastic. And then because the back is plastic, you won't get like a lot of changes from temperature and humidity, so that won't really affect like your all the things that you would have to concern yourself with a regular instrument. With humidity and temperature changes, you don't really have to worry about that for a fluke or a flea. So yeah, I don't know, for as far as holding it, like because it has that flat bottom, like I just put my forearm there instead of like usually you would put it on that curved corner of your ukulele. I just put it straight on the bottom, and then I'm fine like holding it for, even if I were to hold it for hours, I'd be fine. And once you get that, if you can hold a fluke or a flea, and you get it without a strap, you can hold pretty much any ukulele without a guitar. Like even my guitar, I can hold it without my strap, because I'm so used to holding the fluke without a strap. But they do have strap pegs, and I think the fleas have a built-in strap peg. So if you want to use it with a strap, it's pretty easy to get that done as well. So yeah, I don't know, I love them. I think there was research done like a long time ago, comparing I think, yeah, basically the conclusion of the research was that backs and sides of acoustic instruments don't actually contribute that much to the overall sound of the instrument, compared to the top, comparatively, I guess. So you can have like a solid wood top instrument and like a paper mache back inside, and as long as it's holding the instrument together well enough, then it actually doesn't affect the overall sound. People argue that like it's like an age-old question, like what is the best combination of top and back and sides for musical instruments, and everybody has their own theories and stuff. But yeah, for me, having a plastic back and sides but a solid top doesn't affect it at all. I think they sound great. So yeah, if they were plastic tops as well, I think that would definitely affect the sound. But yeah, I think because the Fluke or the Flea has like a pretty solid top, even though it's plastic back and sides, it doesn't. Yeah, I think they sound fine. They sound great, and they last very long. Yeah, this one is going on almost 20 years, so yeah.
Nice, good answer. Good answer. But yeah, like I mean, it's Aaron's got the first-hand experience with it. I'm just coming at it like from from a teacher's point of view. Like, if you're holding it like standing up, not sitting down, like holding it this way is pretty beneficial. But if you're sitting down, like Aaron mentioned, you do want to get your like your forearm here, but with like a Flea or Fluke, it's a little bit different. So that's all I'm really concerned about. Like if you're learning the ukulele, if it's kids too, it'll be a little bit different. If as adults, or if you already kind of know how to hold an ukulele, it might be like, okay, cool, I'll figure this out, and it becomes comfortable once you figure it out and stuff. But for starting out, like student kid or younger person, it might be a little bit of a challenge. But other than that, I think they're great. I think they're solid. Yeah, they're indestructible, Aaron. I've our friends, what's his name that got it and broke it that first day? What's his name? Daniel Sito.
Yes.
Yeah. I wonder how that kid is doing. I remember at the Cerritos Ukulele Festival, he's like, he just got it, or he got it there or something, right?
He bought it there, I think.
And what did he call it? He called it some kind of turtle, like, because like, oh, this is like, it's indestructible, and then he broke it.
He started punching it, and then he like kind of cracked a little hole in the back. So.
Well, that's where I got it's indestructible.
Yeah.
Daniel Sito. Good times. All right, so any other questions, Kahai?
Yeah, well, Chris kind of added on to it, and he said, like, or Mark asking about getting a Fluke or Flea for his grandkids.
Yeah.
He said, I had a chance to talk to Peter Longo last weekend, and he swears against plastic body ukes for kids. He said they would treat it like a toy and not respect it like an instrument.
That's another thing too. Like, I mean, if they know it's plastic, I mean, I know there's a certain Aaron Nakamura that rubs the back and whacks it with stuff like for his videos, and does all these weird sounds with it. So I guess kids will do that, right, Aaron?
Although, I mean, that's part of the charm as well, right? Like people buy ukuleles because they're small instruments and people don't take them seriously. And then when you do take them seriously and can play something amazing on it, that's where the wow factor comes from. So if that's what you're going for, then maybe get a plastic ukulele just for that, to like emphasize that fact.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just try it out. Really, like I think with the holding it and stuff, and another thing is it like kind of sliding off and whatever. So, but Peter Longa, he knows what he's talking about. I think he's he's a well accomplished ukulele teacher, but it really is depending on your grandkids, like how interested they are in learning ukulele, like if they can keep still, if they can like kind of take it a little bit more seriously, or if they're just gonna horse around. It really depends on the student as well. But if Peter swears by it, then that's his personal experience.
I think
So.
that's like one of the things like I think you kind of want the kids to, like take it everywhere, horse around with it, not really have to worry about it too much. Like, because if it's an instrument where you're telling them, hey, make sure every night you put your ukulele back in the case and you wipe it down and stuff, kids are going to be like, I don't know if I want to play this anymore. It's getting too much of a hassle. Where I think like here in Hawaii, like the reason why kids are, as good as they are, or like people come to Hawaii and they're like, I heard this kid playing and he was amazing, but he's just like sitting on the side of the street, is because we just like take it everywhere with us, right? We get ukuleles that are nice, but like, we won't baby them. We won't be like, okay, I gotta bring it in my hard case everywhere I go. You see kids just like put it in their backpack and then riding on bikes, and they're just riding down the road, Not saying that you want your grandkids to treat it like that, but I think it's like as a parent or as a grandparent, it's nice when you see the kid using the instrument so much, right? And loving the instrument in that way that they're playing it constantly.
Yeah, I had a friend or a classmate that would bring his ukulele everywhere. It was a kamaka, like a kamaka concert, and he would throw it like, you know how in class you have that little metal wire basket underneath the seats. He would just like throw it into that thing. I remember, yeah. But he was really good. He was.
Is
he
your
was
friend
one of the-
Aldrine Guerrero? Because that's what I used
Yeah,
to do
same-
with my
same thing.
Kamaka concert ukulele. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah. No, actually, it was Seth. Yeah,
Seth Yamamoto.
yeah, yeah. My classmate Seth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, and he was the one that, like, you know, if you wanted advice about ukulele, that's the person that you would go to, because like he would always have it with him. So yeah.
Nice. Good old Seth. All right. Any other questions, Kai?
Okay. Yeah. Jim kind of has a bunch of questions about
Yeah.
double course
Jim-
ukuleles.
Oh, Jim Bills. Oh, hey, how's it going, mate? What's the question?
So Jim he asked if you prefer any double course, like specifically what strings are doubled up and stuff, and if you prefer them for different types of like genres or different things you need to do, right? Like, or different styles of playing too.
Are you asking this because you own like a Willie K and you're like, hey, that's good, right?
Okay.
no,
Jim said,
I think
"I have
they're fine. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Yeah. See,
I have one Willie K custom from Oscar Smith, which has 5 strings. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's fine. I think, you know, like there are definitely, and I think I've answered this before, but there's definitely a time and place for like multiple stringed ukuleles, guitars, or whatever. And I don't own any. I guess I do. Like but I never play it though. But I do own multiple stringed ones. I own a 6-string ukulele, and I've played many, like 8-string, 5-string, 6-string ukuleles. But I feel that like with my style, it doesn't really fit. I want accuracy, and I want like I want single notes to be kind of highlighted, and it's kind of hard to. It's not impossible, but it's just very difficult to do something like that with multi-stringed uke. Multi-stringed ukuleles, guitars are more in line with like strumming, because when you strum it, it sounds more full. Instead of strumming 4 strings, that kind of rapid arpeggio with the 4 strings, you double that up. You double the strings, you double the arpeggio, thus making it sound a lot more full. It gives it kind of that stereo like chorus effect without having to use any pedals. So if you like that kind of chorus sound to your to your instrument, then have a multi-stringed instrument if that's what you want. Or if you want just some strings like to have that chorus effect. For example, if I were to use it, I would use it either on the G or the C string. So the G, I would have like a high and a low G string. That would be the so like an octave low G, regular high G, then C, E, A strings. If I were to have it, my second choice would be the G, and then have a have a regular C and a high, like an octave high C in there, E and A. So kind of like because I like doing like picking with like parallel octaves. So it would just make that job that much easier if I can if I can just do parallel octaves with one string. That would sound so much better if I had that high C in there, and I think it gives it like a specific sound. So if I am gonna go multi strings with my style of ukulele, I would go with the 5-string, and I would double up either the high G or the C, the middle C. But if you're primarily a strummer, I think it would be it would be really nice. It definitely makes playing by yourself that much fuller sounding, because it's not just the 4 strings. You have multiple, and you have you have more strings to make it sound more full. I guess now I'm just rambling. But it's good for that. So if you're a singer, you want to sing with a more fuller accompaniments, definitely go for it. But singing is not my forte. I don't honestly know what my forte is, but it's definitely not singing. So like with my picking, with the fast strumming and stuff, it would 4 strings really suit me the best, because if I'm doing all the fast strumming, I'm still doing like doing kind of like a pick strum thing where I'm muting the rest of the strings and I'm trying to isolate like some of the notes, like if I'm doing that, and if I have to strum more strings, I feel like that's more work for me, like because there's more drag, there's more strings to drag my strum down. So not for me. But I see where it fits in other people's repertoire, or in other people's sound, and it just depends whatever you're into. Jim, if you're into snakes, if you're not into snakes, in your backyard and stuff. If you're into Vegemite, you're not into Vegemite. I am very into Vegemite.
Yeah, here in Hawaii, especially 8-string ukuleles are definitely more associated with like hula halaus. So the person who is providing the songs and music for a hula troupe, like you would tend to see more people who do that play 6 or 8-string ukuleles, and usually more 8-string. I feel just because like sometimes it's just one person that's singing and playing, and then sometimes they'll have accompaniment with the guitars behind them, and they want to create that large sound even though it's only a few people, so that like everybody in the halau can keep up and know what's going on. So even that too, like you will see 12-string guitars played more often with traditional Hawaiian music that are playing stuff, music for a halau or for hula dancers to dance along with. But yeah, totally up to your musical preference and what works for what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I saw like the Makaha Suns live.
Yeah.
They were playing at the big Kmart here, like when it was opening, and I think that was my first like real like exposure to like somebody using a 12-string correctly, and it added so much, and it actually like really matches that chorus sound, really matches like Hawaiian music or the music that they played, and it's like 1 12-string and 2 6-string ukuleles. That was like the Makasan's trio when I saw them. And like whenever like the 6-string guitar would solo, it was like kind of like seamless, going from like from the all 3 guitars playing together to like just 2 guitars doing the background and 1 doing the picking. It didn't seem like there was a lot that dropped off, what I mean, like because sometimes with like a 3-piece band, one drops off strumming, you can really tell, like for us, for example, if me and you play, if I stop strumming, people know that I've stopped strumming, and then I started kind of picking and stuff. But with them, it was kind of seamless. Like when one of them was doing a picking and they were all strumming at the same time, it was really cool. And plus that chorus really sounds good with Hawaiian music. Like love it.
Yeah.
I love how it matches really well with Hawaiian music.
Yeah.
Or church music too. Like my church that I play with here on Kauai at St. Raphael's, all the guitar players have like stereo chorus pedals, and it's just like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That's the sound that you want for church,
Yeah.
And then it's kind of, it's amplified even more because like church has got this kind of like got this reverb to it.
Yeah.
So it's like that.
Reverb.
Yeah, it sounds really good because by itself, I kind of hate the sound of like chorus, like a chorus effect. If I were to put on my ukulele and I started strumming and stuff, it just sounds so unnatural. Like it's just not my cup of tea, But put in the right context, which like Hawaiian music or church and stuff, like it really can sound super beautiful.
I think didn't Uncle Willie also do that? Like he would play his uke through a chorus effect, a chorus like stereo effect too. and then kind of make it
yeah.
sound like, even though he already had. Do you remember what strings were doubled up on his uke? So he already had like a 5-string uke, but then he would just make it kind of sound like even more expansive,
I thought it
almost
was
like
C.
a 12-string.
I thought it was C, or it's either G or C. That's like the most common.
I'm sure.
And then I think A is the next one, and then E.
Yeah, I'm sure Jim will say in the chat, like right after he hears this, he'll be like, "It's actually the G." Yeah, he's right there. He said
Yeah,
G.
yeah. He said G.
Yeah, I see it's G. I see this is G, mate.
Yeah. Uncle Willie would also play a 12-string as well.
Yeah.
Pretty often. Yeah.
So he knows. Yeah. Okay. Any last minute questions? We can answer maybe one more if there's another question.
I don't think so. I think that was pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay, so hopefully this week things kind of go back to normal. We are doing this from home, but I think this is the last time we're gonna be doing at home live streams. Come Thursday, it is the open mic here at Ukulele Underground. So we have an Ukulele Underground open mic that is at 2:30 p.m. Till the last performer is done, which is usually Aaron. So whenever Aaron is done, like that's when that's done. Usually we try to get everybody to get a turn before we close stuff out. So if you want to show your stuff, if you want to share some music, if you want to hang out with us over at the Ukulele Underground open mic, that's going to be on this Thursday. What's the date on that, Kai? What's the date this Thursday? I guess
October
I can
5th.
up also. It's October 5th. So this Thursday, October 5th, it's gonna be a good time. So what we do is we meet on Zoom just like this, and everyone gets a turn. You can play 1 or 2 songs. So it's usually a 2-song set. And then the next person will play. Then the next person will play. So it's everybody gets 2 songs. We share. We hang out in the chat, and we just kind of chat along and make comments. We we encourage everybody to to play music, and we just support each other. Really, it's just an avenue for people to share what they're working on or to share their talents. So if you want to hang out and play some music with us, Thursday, October 5th, for the Ukulele Underground open mic, and that starts at 2:30 p.m. Hawaii time. Okay, 2:30 p.m. Hawaii time. Just log on to ukuleleunderground.com, or just go to ukuleleunderground.com. There's usually a banner at the top around that time, and you can click on that banner, which leads you to the Zoom room where the open mic is going to be held. So I guess, do you need Zoom like installed, Kai, in order to join?
Yeah.
Probably if you want to perform, especially if you want to perform.
Yeah.
But
I just don't know if there's like a web version of Zoom or not,
yeah, you can. You're supposedly you can use it in your browser, but if you're performing for us, like we ask that people have their like original sound on for musicians. So that's kind of a feature that you need to download the Zoom app to use. So,
Yeah, so join us then. And then, of course, Aloha Friday Live Jam, 1 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. That's going to be, that's going to be pretty much standard there. Quick heads up to our UU Plus subscribers, though. We're gonna be going through some changes as far as the private lessons goes. So just be on the lookout, okay? Like we don't have all the details yet as far as private lessons goes, but there's going to be some good and bad news like on that front, okay? So good news would be I don't know if I can confidently say that there's like multiple teachers, but we're aiming to get multiple teachers to jump on to do private lessons for Ukulele Underground. Okay, but the bad news is it's probably not going to be the same format as you know of it today. So what that format will be and how many teachers and who the teachers are going to be, we'll give you guys more details on that as we get them, because we're trying to roll this out by next month. Okay, so we're trying to roll this out very soon, if not in the month after that, but we're trying to roll it out as fast as we can. And I think that's all that I can really say about that, right? Like, is there any more details that I can say? No, not really, because I don't want to say stuff and then you're like, oh, I thought you're gonna have a new site by now, or whatever. Yeah, I don't want to backseas,
But
But-
also, oh yeah,
Go,
no,
go.
we also put out a new play along.
Yes, yes, you play along. Changes in latitudes, changes in attitudes. It's kind of our little tribute to Jimmy Buffett, as Jimmy Buffett has really done a lot for ukulele, has contributed a lot to the ukulele's popularity. Whether you know this or not, like he brought Jake Shimabukuro with him on tour and really exposed the ukulele to like a mainstream audience for the first time, because I think Jake was touring everywhere. He's touring Japan, he's touring Hawaii and stuff, but it was that particular tour where it was really like mainstream exposure for the uke. So thank you and rest in paradise, Mr. Jimmy Buffett. That's our tiny little tribute to you. And it was, surprise, surprise, it's a cover of a Kyle Critter Boys cover of a Jimmy Buffett song. But I hope you guys enjoy it. It's one of my favorites, and like and now that I'm older and I've actually traveled places and stuff, like singing those lyrics, like it hits pretty hard, man. Like changes in latitudes, changes in attitudes, even though it's like disguised as like this Jimmy Buffett song of like, hey, let's drink and be merry on an island or whatever, but it's like a pretty heavy song, So I love it. It's one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Jimmy Buffett song. So I hope you guys take some time and go check it out and learn it, or just watch and give us a nice view. Share it with your friends, comments, do all that cool stuff. Hit that like button, subscribe, and just let us know on that video what you guys wanted to see next, because we're trying to bring back the lessons. Which mahalo, by the way, on the reception to My Girl. My gosh, that blew up more than I thought it was going to. So thank you so much for the people who have watched that particular lesson. We really, really, really appreciate you, and thanks for spreading the word. We're we're gonna do more. Next month is already set. But yeah, we're gonna try to do some cool little play-alongs in the near future. Okay. But before I go, Aaron, do you remember? Do you remember what this is from? This is a relic.
I don't know what. Oh,
Oh
yeah, Sean's song.
Yeah, I found this like cleaning up, and I put it up there. I was like, oh my god, I have that hat. Like I have Sean's like OG like original hat. What I got it, and it just reminded me to catch back up with Sean. This really talented. When we met him, he was like, I don't know, like 6-7 years old or what, like however young he was. I'm sure he's super like elite and amazing musician, at this point, because he was writing songs when he was like 6-7 years old. And he used to wear this hat with the word joyful like under, and he used to wear it like this, where like it would just kind of go over the vital part wasn't really showing, it was just the joyful part, and that was like kind of his signature. And he came to our show in Korea, and he gave me one of his hats, and I kept it. So Sean, if you're out there, still got it, buddy. I'm a big fan still, More power to you. Whatever it is that you're doing in life right now, whether it be music or anything else, remember to be joyful. Okay, I'll see you folks later. On that notes, be joyful, spread joy, spread the love of the ukulele. Play your ukulele, teach someone how to play the ukulele, and then bring them to our site to properly learn how to play the uke. And I will make sure that they learn properly. You know what I mean? I have my whips here somewhere to whip them into shape to make sure that they listen. Right, Kahai? Jim knows, right, mate? I feel like I'm picking on Jim today. Or just Australia as a whole. It's because you guys have snakes. What kind of country keeps snakes? I feel like you guys raise them because there's so much there, I feel like you guys encourage the breeding and of more powerful, more poisonous, more dangerous snakes. I feel like they're just breeding and creating more ultra dangerous things in there.
Yeah, they're like we got crocodiles. Oh really? Like I better watch out when I go into your rivers and lakes. And they're like, no, ocean too.
Ocean.
No, but the crocodiles aren't supposed to be in the ocean. I was like, no, they are.
Yeah, Australian crocodiles.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Snakes don't usually go in like in power boxes and backyards and stuff, but there they are,
Yeah.
like. So But yeah, be joyful, spread joy, everyone. You know, and be happy, be positive, because at the end of the day, that's what this ukulele, that's what this instrument brings all of us. Yeah. So have a great one. I'll see you folks on Thursday for the open mic. If not, I'll see you Friday for Aloha Friday Live Jam. Have a good one. Aloha.